Travis Wayne Goodsell. As I was uploading the video content, I went and bathed, and in that process, I realized that I needed to add the Revelation 19 sign in the heavens for you, and realized it's my day to wear white. And so I'm doing this little clip to conform with the symbolism of the video content and the sign in the heavens for today for you. So let us proceed. So I had to stop recording of this video to bring you some late-breaking new developments. I tried to see if Jessica had a YouTube channel and couldn't find her, and so I found the original guy that was talking about this, and I found out by listening to him again that he had been linked to Jessica by a common friend of his named Mindy, and Mindy has her YouTube thing but doesn't talk about this. It was a link that she sent to this guy about Jessica. And so instead of trusting the letter from the mission president, he wanted confirmation. And so he went and found Richard D. Draper, his New Testament commentary on at Brigham Young University. And he even takes you to the bottom to show you that it's copyrighted by Brigham Young. Oh my God. Mormons know who Richard D. Draper is. Dear God. But anyway, I'll put that snapshot of the source as a confirmation, as well as Oakes's quote. So apparently Richard D. Draper had been involved with that meeting for missionaries, whether he was assisting by going there also, or he had found out through the missionary chain about that event from Oakes. And so yeah, it's a secondary confirmation that yes, Oakes did leak it in that meeting, but the guy doesn't have a clue. Jessica doesn't have a clue. Mindy doesn't have a clue. And I'm the only guy who knows the information. And it's sad that nobody wants to listen. So I'll have to trim off the others because I don't want you finding the original guy in Mindy's channel.
And young women, you are magnifying this problem by becoming pornography.
Travis Wayne Goodzone. So Shout out to Sister Jessica for her leaking the mission president's letter to parents and stake presidents that included a Oak's confession that he's responsible for the overthrow of our government and the mass murders that have gone on in this nation and around the world. It takes brave Mormons to step up and stand for truth. So, apparently, my commentary on the best that Exfo Nevermos have is doing fairly well. And so obviously with the increase in views comes an increase in haters, but nonetheless, I can do that for all of their videos. It's not just that one, but my channel is not dedicated to doing that. They're not authorities. I am. And so no, I will not change my channel to do something that is not me. I did that one specifically because it had to do with the topic of the month. The month of the fall of the great and abominable church. Exodus to Zion. And I'm sure that most of you would follow Sister Jessica rather than me. But you gotta understand, Sister Jessica is wrong. She still believes Jesus is the Christ. And so this is where Deuteronomy 19 about punishment for false accusers comes in. Is that criminal people who make false accusations always get busted. They always get exposed. And as a result, there are people who they con who expose and leak their information. And so in this particular case, it was a mission president who had his Las Vegas vacation to be indoctrinated by Oaks, and quoted Oaks specifically. See, that conference was not available for Mormons generally. It was only for mission presidents. It was a mission meeting. And so for him to put it in his mission letter to the missionaries, and for Sister Jessica to then take that and post it on her mission website, and then to have a YouTuber who this year did a video on it, and somebody stalking me? Do a video on it, because it's not wind, because I would have seen the blinds blow back and forth. And to use that quote from Sister Jessica and to make it available for me, because YouTube hates me and wants me silenced and shut up, so they keep recommending certain Mormon channels. They're doing a new stunt against me on my computer system. Had to deal with it 2 times within the past week, few days. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if somebody's stalking me. I mean, it could be the tree, and it could be blowing this direction so that it blocks blowing into the window, but I don't know. Whatever. It's weird. And so, yeah, for me to find it, I know exactly what it means. I've already done the research. That's why I understood what it meant. And it's important that when you're in a religion, that you know your religion. That's why the church exploits teenagers, sending them on missions to recruit others into the church, rather than getting experienced, educated, trained persons to go out on missions. That's why the Jehovah's Witnesses, they typically have couples, adults, that are the ones that go out on missions. You don't really see an organized youth going out on missions. And so that shows you how this church exploits their youth. Because the youth aren't experienced enough, educated sufficiently, to go out and be experts on Mormonism. You know, that's why they use the emotivism against other people to join the church. Spiritual witness feelings. Emotion. Emotivism is a fallacious moral argument in the field of philosophy when utilized scientifically, rather than opinionated philosophy, which many people believe that that's all philosophy is. No. Those are people who are trying to destroy philosophy and ruin it for everybody, you know, like psychologists do. If you actually utilize science and psychology, you could use your Bible. It's all in there. Judge not, lest you be judged. Judge them by their fruits. Beam and mote. Those kinds of things. That is real psychology. And the psychology that is going on, oh my God, don't even get me going. This year I've been watching Star Trek, the whole chronological order. And so when I got to Next Generations, I went, oh my God, this is how it began. The psychological abuse in our nation. They got it from Star Trek Next Generation, with Data creating a robot and telling the robot, you, whatever sex identity you feel like you are, you can be. Because psychologists back in the 80s were telling those who were gay that they've got a mental retardation and they need to come in to see them to get help for their problem that they're in denial of. And so it was conversion shock therapy to help them. And so with Star Trek in the 90s, that's when psychologists began to tell little grade school kids, oh, well, yeah, you can be whatever sex you want to be. We'll give you an emotional support animal, and we'll tell your teachers not to test you anymore. Because it's too stressful. And so it became a pass-fail grade in the grade schools. And then they graduate from high school, they don't have a clue about anything, and they're going into the job market and destroying the corporate America. Next you have these so-called hunks who are murderers dining at McDonald's and Starbucks. Women, I'm a terrorist, ask the church. I just never get a break. Everybody else is having fun but me. And so watching Heroes now, this is those grade school kids who are now college age, in their 20s, early 20s. And so I can see how Heroes is exploiting this with the next phase of psychology in the 2000s, as they're trying to merge sci-fi with their identities as hero powers, because psychology is just flooding the show, and it's kind of pissing me off because I want to get to the storyline about threats to the world type stuff. They're not wanting to do it, at least in season 1. But yeah, it's just, I can see how they are grooming the kids through psychology this whole time through entertainment media. And so yes, this is why the church does what they do from our birth. They have everybody involved in it, because everybody's indoctrinated equally. It's a shared indoctrination to help reinforce the indoctrination on people. And so Sister Jessica believes Jesus is real and that we need to celebrate Christ in Christmas. And she's got pictures of Jesus. And yeah, she's got the psychological abuse of the little quotes and sayings, the positive affirmation crap and all that stuff from psychology. But that's the second wave of psychology after the first wave in the 90s. And technically, there's been phases in the 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s. After World War II, when they were given asylum here in America, as they were the Nazis doing the human experimentation on the Jews. So I can see their mental manipulation over time. I try to warn you, and you guys don't believe. And people who are indoctrinated, who are caught up in Stockholm Syndrome, abusive relationships, they're the ones that are in need of the most help, but are the ones who are most violent in defending their abuser. And so when I do videos exposing John DeLynn, for example, I get attacked by all John DeLynn lovers. It's just the way it is. They are incapable of seeing reality, that they have been indoctrinated. And this is Mormonism. And with John DeLynn, he preys upon those who are weak in the church, weak in the faith, and exploits them with his psychology. And if you haven't been paying attention to the news this year, psychology has been exposed as a fraud, a criminal, abusive fraud. Mormons are going to prison, having been educated at BYU to be criminals. You've got treatment centers getting shut down, and employees raping and abusing. You get the school systems who are following the advice of the psychologist to do corporal punishment for activities. It's just sick and wrong. And so yeah, I see how people are trying to ban guns for school shootings, but that doesn't stop it. A kid can get another weapon that is not banned. So the problem isn't going to go away by banning guns. People don't understand. Psychology is a part of this. That's the root cause. The person who's doing it has a mental conditioning for that, whether it's being bullied at school, that the bullies were never stopped, the parents who are financially struggling, or the teacher who's stressing him out with testing. He was denied an emotional support animal. Canada banned a couple who had paid for a seat on an airplane for their cello, emotional support cello. Airport denied the cello. Canada, when my mom came up, she was heading back to America, and apparently she was allowed to bring her knitting needle to Canada, but going back to America, she was stopped at the gate to get on the plane, and was told that that was a deadly weapon, and it's not allowed on the plane. It's almost as funny as YouTube banning a 93-year-old woman from posting videos. Banning her channel, blocking her from posting videos because she's porn. Granny porn on YouTube. It's just sick and wrong. There's just too much abuse. But, yeah, let's get to Revelation 19, shall we? Revelation 19. Long time in coming. I know you've all been eagerly waiting. They're just so popular. Being the expert in the field, everybody wants to learn. And so, Bruce R. McConkie obviously is the master manipulator, believing or forcing Mormons into this indoctrination with his racist, sexist, bigoted, hateful, unique interpretations. I tried to fix a lot of his errors in the footnotes, but the ones that he did, I was specifically told I can't touch them. Because Bruce R. McConkie back then was still given reverence. Even though when Monson took over, that's when they stopped publishing Bruce R.'s works, especially Mormon doctrine. The church wanted to distance themselves from Bruce R. McConkie, and Monson was the one who laid down the gauntlet to sever Bruce R. McConkie from the church. But yeah, when I was revising the footnotes, that's what I was told, is that you can't touch an apostle's work. Ballard was also a part of the original work, and he's worse, far worse than Bruce R. McConkie. And that was the reason why they never did a revision in English for us with the Guide to the Scriptures, is because Ballard was still alive. They didn't want to ruin his memory while he was still alive. Oh my God. It's just hilarious. So yeah, I caught on when he died last year with the sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, stars fall from heaven. Very aware of all of this. And so yes, this does have to do with Revelation 19 and Ballard dying with the second day of darkness. because this is the third day of darkness that already happened on the 8th of April, 8 April 2024. And so Bruce R. McConkie put the chapter heading as "The Marriage Supper of the Lamb is Made Ready." The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. And so, even though, yes, I do believe I did see, yeah, there it is, verse 10, the testimony of, of thy brethren that have the testimony of Jesus. For the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. That's a scripture mastery when I was growing up in seminary and in an institute and on my mission even, I bet. But you're not getting it. Prophecy. It's predicting the future. For John, author of, aka John, whether his name was actually John or not, we don't know, to write revelation, which is time, day and the hour, using astronomy as the timepiece, and then the predictions of the future, utilizing the anthropomorphizing of the constellations and the planets and the celestial bodies to tell stories that are prophetic with the time included with them at the same time. People lost this understanding because of Christianity and the first creed that did away with prophecy and revelation. This is what Joseph Smith was talking about when he's talking to the Methodist preacher. All that was done away with the death of the apostles. Well, the apostles weren't real. But that's what Joseph Smith is trying to point out to you. Is that in verse 19, he tells us that Christianity and that first creed is all wrong, abominable, and corrupt. They replaced the Jews. The Jewish prophecy and revelation, predicting the future, giving the time of when the future predictions are to occur. Because Christians now turned it into literal history. And because this is talking about the latter days, this almost didn't get in the Christian Bible. The Christian Bible, not the Jewish Bible. Christians gathered approved documents, compiled them into Old and New Testament, because they turned it into literal history. So now everything is put into a chronological order. That's why scholars are trying to debate, when was the book of Job written? Oh, what time period was this? And they ignore the sons of God going to the temple and then seeing a movie video on the screen of Lucifer talking with Jesus about how they're going to test Job's loyalty. I embellished that a little bit, but yeah, as a Mormon, I immediately saw what Job is talking about at a basic level. And so as I became the anthropologist of the ancient Middle East, I now fully understand it, and I'm able to talk about it in that way, jovially. And so none of this refers to the Roman period of time. And there are people who try to say, well, it was a Roman period document, and so this is Emperor so-and-so, and such, and therefore and forever. No. It utilizes the historical time frame that the author is in, but predicting the future. And this is where scholarship fails to do their job scientifically to run the test of the revelations with prophecies. People will do it with Nostradamus They won't do it with the Bible because of Christianity, that first creed. And so it's not Jesus. Jesus is used as prophecy. The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. This is written after Jesus, according to the first creed, came to earth during the Roman period time. And they're saying that Jesus is still to come in the future, to be born as a baby, because he's a Jewish author. He's talking about the Jewish Christ, Messiah ben David, who is preceded by Messiah ben Joseph. And the Book of Mormon tells us, and Joseph Smith likewise, that Messiah ben Joseph is Joseph Smith. And so Messiah ben David, who is being used as the name Jesus, which, if you knew Hebrew, flip the two words and you got Isaiah. Prophecy of Isaiah. And so you can say the testimony of Isaiah is the spirit of prophecy. Now, do you understand what it means? It's not literal history Jesus of Roman Constantine's first creed creation. The prophecies of Isaiah is what this author is also using, just like Matthew, just like Mark, just like Luke, just like John, just like the letters of Paul, just like the others in the New Testament, and the book of Jesus that follows Deuteronomy. There's a reason for the season. It's not Jesus. Okay, so Christ is King of Kings, Lord of Lords. Yeah, no duh. All of the kings were the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. Constantine was the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. The great high priest. Christians ruined that, destroyed it from people's minds. Okay. Ooh, I should put that somehow. Testimony of Isaiah / Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. I'll have to see how I can incorporate that, because I already have pretty pictures and I probably should put Jessica in the spotlight again. Yep. She's a very interesting person because of the pictures of her. She's an open book, as nonverbal communication shows. Fascinating woman. But nonetheless, indoctrinated by this church. And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven. Okay? So a message from heaven, from messengers. So he's seeing a sign in the heavens about a message. There are several locations on the zodiac for messages. And so you need to pull out your Urim and Thummim and pursue. And it helps to know the time frame of the latter days. You should have already caught on that the big first year was back in Revelation 12, which is 2017. And so here, you're being given the year 2024. 11 and 17. We're getting to it. I saw heaven opened. Sign in the heavens. White horse, Pegasus. Above Pisces. And he that sat on him is the sun. His eyes were a flame of fire. And a name written that no man knew but he himself. That's the Egyptian sun god at noonday. The sun is on the back of the white horse in Pisces. And then verse 17, an angel stands in the sun. Not physically possible, therefore not true as literal. That's an eclipse. The moon is the angel. 8 April 2024. And so, this is the time frame for which you look in the heavens for a message being given in the signs in the heavens. 8 April 2024, I think it was Mars and Saturn that were being washed, cleansed of their wickedness in the High Priest constellation on that day. Trying to remember the time in April when the solar eclipse occurred. Da 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 da. Do you remember? Okay, well, there's my picture. We want that one. Thank you for cooperating. Yeah, Mars and Saturn. Venus, is it? Yep, and there's Mercury. Yep. Yeah, Venus and Mercury are in conjunction with the Sun. More so Mercury, giving the announcement. So there you go. It's all talking about the same sign. For true and righteous are his judgments, for he hath judged the great whore, Babylon. Which, again, corresponds also with the Greeks on the abomination of desolation. And I did that picture. Oh, I shouldn't have. Is it still, or is it in this file? It's not. Should be able to find it by typing in Nelson. I'm so excited. Oh yeah, there was that one. That was part of that. The judgment scene with Nelson Swine, Oak's penalty. I did that earlier this year. Yep. Which, now you don't cooperate? Oh, there it is. 2017-2024 with Nelson and the judgment. Oh yeah. Zoe. Yep. Doctrine and Covenants 85. No Zion for you. Come back next resurrection. And prostitution. Hilarious. Ignore me at your own risk. Nelson looking at. Hilarious. So yeah, that's right. 9th Ave. That's what it was for. Back in 2018, when Monson died, Nelson is Mars, was there at the top of the scales of judgment, with Jupiter, the Mormon, who's the Christ, right there. But Nelson was on top then. On 9th Ave this year, Jupiter is between the horns of Taurus the bull for the transfer of authority. We're waiting for that now. And on 9th Ave, Nelson, as Mars, joined in conjunction with Jupiter and is below this time. On top, at the beginning of the latter days, below at the end of the latter days. The judgment. That's what he's talking about here in Revelation 19. The true and righteous are his judgments, for he hath judged the great whore. And so if you hadn't caught on, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the great and abominable church of Jesus Christ. Baby name meanings. Jessica means seer. That is so cute. Just incredible. She doesn't realize what she's done, but in so she had fulfilled her baby name meaning. She is awesome. So it would be sad if she were to be narked on, or I would be narked onto her, and she gets offended and destroys her whole purpose in life. Because it's because of her that I'm able to add warning to my message, add validation. Screw validation. It's a psychological thing. Validity. That's better, but still not the word I'm looking for. But nonetheless, but it's the religion here. The whore is the religion, the woman. Whore is female. Men are not able to be whores, but they can commit whoredoms by involvement with whores. This is what he's referring to here. He's referring to the church, and thus Babylon as the church. But he does get into both the government and the religious leader. Bye-bye, Nelson. Bye-bye. Which did corrupt the earth with her fornication. Porn. See, this is what we're going over. The abomination of desolation. Right there in verse 2. And so he's letting us know that this sign on 8 April 2024 is the message of the coming judgment against the great and abominable church for the abomination of desolation that they've committed. The destroying of the temple rituals with abominable practices, as well as prostitution in the temple. And that's exactly what Brigham Young started. And now that modern women want to pay the prostitution price for their husband, Rome added that, men being prostituted in the temple. So that's fornication. It is not going to getting to second base with your date. It is not necking and petting. And hath avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. That's why murderers, church has been trying to murder me. They are a crime organization. I've already done the research. I was ready to present it to the court, but the federal judges said, no, we will not let Mormons go. So yeah, there's a whole bunch more people I could have added at the bottom. I'm assuming I put it in. And again, they said, praise Yah. Hallelujah. This floods the whole document here, the whole chapter. And her smoke rose up forever and ever. The abomination of desolation that the Christians interpreted it as the day that shall burn as an oven, and they that come shall burn them, not Jesus' second coming. That's what Joseph Smith was warning you in the second vision. Jesus Christ is a fraud. He'd already established that with the first vision and explained it with the Methodist preacher, why it's abominable. And so the second vision, because of this abominable Christianity that is not real, they, the people, Christians, have to make their interpretation come to pass. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They altered the prophecies of the Jews, and so in order for their prophecies of Jesus' second coming, they've got to make things up and make it happen. Thus, Trump is Jesus. Not literal Jesus, because Jesus is so superior, supernatural, that mankind can't comprehend him, but he works through humans to do his will on earth, and thus Trump is Jesus. Just like Cyrus was the Christ, to grant the Jews to go back to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple. This is how messed up Christianity is. And evangelicals don't realize Trump is going to betray you. And you say, yay, it's Jesus. And thus the blood. Murder is an automatic disqualifier from being Christ. If you're a murderer, you ain't the Christ. If you defend your life, no, you're okay. You can still be the Christ. Right, Joseph? We need to de-Jesus for Joseph Smith. It's an SNL skit. So yes, the theme song in the description below. Guess which episode that was from last night. Or guess which skit from last night that comes from. There's a reason. It has to do with this that I just went over with you. Who can guess? Who can figure it out? Do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight, get down tonight. Do a little dance. If I link you to that skit, that's cheating. Okay, so it's talking about their destruction, even though the smoke is from the altar in the temple. So there's the actual thing that the Greeks did, which was abominable, to destroy the Jerusalem temple's altar and rebuild it for Greek functioning, and that's why the Jews don't sacrifice pigs. It's because of the Greek practice, similar to I'm not sure which Torah or other book that says don't do a sacrifice of a kid boiled in its mother's milk as a Moloch ritual. That's what they were doing there. It has nothing to do with having cheeseburgers. You can have cheeseburgers. That's not what it's talking about. It's talking about the Mesopotamian practice of altar sacrifice to Molech, which is a weird construction, but anyway, won't get into that for you. But yeah, that's the Mesopotamian practice. And so similarly with the Greeks, with pigs, Jews say no bacon. They can have bacon because it explains it, why they don't have pig sacrifices as the exception. Is that a pig is just like other hooved animals, and therefore it is normally good and acceptable to sacrifice. And so when Peter gets his dream as a seer, from Egyptian, Peter, seer, he is told that he can now offer bacon on the altar again. That's what he's meaning there. And so it's taking those who are Greeks and converting them to the restored religion, rather than what the Maccabees did and keep their distance from the Greeks to be an isolated people. That's what it was referring to. And so likewise for Zion, anybody in the world who does not want to be involved in getting nuked can come to Zion too. You just have to follow the laws and rules to not destroy Zion. There cannot be wickedness in Zion. And so if you're a good person who wants to keep the human race going and having everybody good and kind and not criminal and haters, you can come to Zion. That's what it's for. And so this is what it's talking about here in chapter 19, is this need for Zion. And so yeah, it would be great if I can help or get the attention of Jessica, and she can be my spokesperson, because everybody will listen to her and never me. They'll follow her to Zion. The church would instantly crumble under her. But me, nope. I'm the bad boy, but women don't want me. Okay, and the 24 elders and the 4 beasts fell down and worshipped God that sat on the throne. See, that's referring back to 2017. God sitting upon his throne. That's the 23rd of September 2017. And so he's referencing this. He sees a sign in the heavens, God sitting upon his throne, the sun, which also Jupiter is involved here. And so he's doing this flashback with judgment that was in 2018, and then in 2024, 23rd of September 2017, now with 8 April 2024. He's utilizing the full latter days here in this one chapter for you. He's summing it up, just like I did with my pictures for you. And so again, he says, saying, Amen, Hallelujah, praise Yah. And so a voice came out of the throne saying, Hallelujah, praise our God, praise Yah. All ye his servants, and ye that fear him, both small and great. And I heard as it were a voice of the great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thunderings, saying, Hallelujah, praise Yah. And for the Lord God omnipotent reigneth. He is not all-powerful. even though that's what it says. But when you understand the curse of Joseph Smith, then you go, wow, yeah, okay, you don't want to mess with him. Nelson is messing with him. And you can see how this is all played out in prophecy, because this final year, when the curse of Joseph Smith is looming, stalking Nelson and Oaks, because he's next, a whole bunch of signs in the heavens with scripture prophecies for this final year just keeps flooding everything that I've been doing the videos for this year. And this is why this year I'm being greater cyber terrorized, because they know this is the last year for their plot to murder everybody and coup the governments. And they know better. You leave me alone and I won't do the research. You attack me, I do the research and find what I need to find and expose you even more. They never learn. Evil is stupid. They think they're doing the right thing to cover up and hide their crimes and plots and insurrections and coups and terrorism and blah blah blah, but no, they're dumb. It's the way it is. That was my patriarchal blessing. Everything I need to know for my career will be given to me. Ta-da! This is my career. And so yeah, Oaks's leak, way to perfection, the receipt of the prophet's pain to have me assassinated. Yeah, I got it all. They'd never learn. All they had to do was leave me alone. Way back when I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. They should have left me alone. So good for you, Travis. Good for you. They knew I was poor. They knew I was never going to publish the book. Until Amazon comes along, but still. Because yeah, it would. Back in the 2000s, I checked. Barnes and Noble was finally offering, I think, $1,000 to publish through them back then, which was cheaper than the normal price of $2,000 for publication of a book. You had to pay them for them to do the publishing. And so Amazon comes along and allows you to do it for free, but Amazon takes 99.9% of the profits. And so most people are required to jack up the prices of their products because of how much Amazon steals from you. So anyway, I just thought it was a great idea to get the word out to more people. I didn't care about making money off of it. But the church attacked, and my profits tanked. So anyway, now I'm on academia because that's now free. And I don't know why people are still searching for me on LinkedIn. What the hell is wrong with you guys? I've not touched LinkedIn forever. LinkedIn is a dating site or where people try to sell you stuff. I mean, seriously, LinkedIn does not do what it was intended to be done for. And I gave up on it. It was a waste of my time. And so I have not updated it for my profile or anything like that. And so if you go there, you're not going to learn anything about me that way. Academia, I think, is better updated, but I've not really focused on it. I did some more additions since 2022 into last year, especially with going over the Joseph Smith's actual scriptures, trying to eliminate the ones that were forged documents of Brigham Young. But that was the first draft, and doing some other stuff for signs in the heavens and Paleo-Hebrew examples of translations that I've done for you on YouTube. But nonetheless, I don't know, I just, and so I can't really block LinkedIn on my Gmail because I still use it to find out if Mormons or if people who are in the news committing crimes are Mormon or not. That's pretty much all I use it for. Okay, let us be glad and rejoice, give honor to him. And so they're praising, and so it's a different way to say hallelujah here, for the marriage, 10 virgins, again, this month, reminding you of it, with the 1st of January being the 10th Jewish religious month, right there at the end of Hanukkah, which Revelation chapter 12 verses 3 and 4 are 4 in the Joseph Smith translation. So you need to know that Joseph Smith knows this when he makes that change. He knows 2017's date. He knows 2024's date. He knows about Hanukkah being merged with the quadranted meteor showers when Monson died back in 2018. And so here we are. The two are now combined, Hanukkah and the quadranted meteor showers on the last day of Hanukkah. Joseph knows this. This is what 19 is talking about. And his wife hath made herself ready. And so this is the church. This is his actual 3rd attempt, right? And so multiple understandings in interpretation and translation, not just one. Do not limit yourself to one translation. But you first have to learn before you can unlearn. And so don't look at that and come up with the branch off translation and ignore the blatantly obvious. I see too many people do that. They want to look for things beyond the mark rather than what's plain, pure, and precious right in front of them. So first learn how to learn, then you can branch out. And that's why I had told you the other day in a video explaining in a different way about seed producing fruit by which you can judge it. If you start with a spiritual witness feeling for seed, you have to create a spiritual witness fruit. I feel it's true, therefore it's fruit. That spiritual witness fruit has spiritual witness seeds, and then you branch off from there, and you branch off from there, and then you create the movie or the TV show Heroes. As you create things that you now have to explain. Stargate was hilarious on this. They had an actual episode where they had Marty, who was doing a show based on his experience with Stargate. And people were asking the questions, well, if they're able to walk through walls, why don't they just fall through the floor? Brilliant. You saved that episode from being a wasted episode. And so, yes, Galaxy Quest, likewise. As you got the teenager who's a massive fan and has the blueprints and all that, and having discussions with his friends. And being able to ask those questions. Well, if the flux capacitor is, how was it that they were able to do? And so, yeah, Tim Allen was trying to say, it's just a show. But that's what religious Christians are doing, and Mormons are doing, is they're taking a spiritual witness seed and growing it into this absurdity that in their minds makes perfect sense, but it's not real. There's nothing real about it. And so with the latter days and second coming, yeah, there's a whole bunch of people who have this far out thing that never happens. And I've seen it on YouTube by Christians trying to explain Revelations, trying to fit the timeline that they created for the latter days, and they're all wrong. It's elaborate. There's one particular guy that was big on this, with the whole timeline and the events according to Christian interpretation that are supposed to happen, and none of it's happened. We're at the latter days. None of it happened. So I know him by his fruits, but I knew from the beginning of his fruits. And Mormons are not able to catch on to this. When Nelson tells you Jesus' second coming and a coming day, Mormons think literally. They're not thinking criminally, fraudulently. That's how Nelson is doing it. And so that's how he's able to deceive you. Okay, blessed are they which come to the marriage supper of the Lamb. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. And so if that's the color she wants, she has a beautiful white dress photo. I probably should use that. Even though she's not, she's 24 years old. I'm almost 55. So she's 30 years younger than me. She could be my granddaughter. So don't get any ideas. But I have noticed, thanks to psychology, that a lot of younger women pursue older men. But again, not me. I'm always the exception. Jessica in white dress. I would have done some different pictures than her photographer that she had gotten, but nonetheless. And for the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. And this is where white supremacist Christian nationalists love to claim that blacks are therefore wicked. Has to do with light of the sun rather than black and white for skin color, which black and white are not colors. But nonetheless. And he said unto me, Right, blessed are they which are come to the marriage supper of the Lamb. And so, yeah, the parable of the 10 virgins should be on everybody's mind. The creation of Zion. This also needs to be understood in the context of Christ becoming King of Kings, Lord of Lords. He cannot do it unless he also gets married. Thus, the marriage supper of the Lamb. The Lamb is because of on 8 April 2024, Jupiter is in the Ram constellation of Aries. And so I've been doing those videos of his actual birth in 1970, where his sign was in the east, his patriarchal blessing. Yeah, it's me. Which the sign in the heavens likewise had the Lamb. And so this is to help the readers, when the time comes, to search for him. Because he's Mormon. Mormons got the inside scoop on this. And Mormons are the ones who least are likely to find him. Because of how indoctrinated they are. And so, yeah, everything was given to Mormons, handed on a silver platter, and Brigham Young destroyed it with his abomination. And so Mormons can't see it. And he said unto me, these are the truth sayings of God. And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, get up, what the hell? I am thy fellow Mormon, of thy brethren, that have the testimony of Jesus. Worship God, for the testimony of Isaiah is the spirit of prophecy. This is what I've been trying to tell you. In Joseph Smith's Temple of Washington Anointings, you become joint heirs with Christ in Zion. We're all the same. You have to learn how to take the word and produce the results. That's how you know. If you get an idea in your head for a creation, an invention, some kind of product, follow the blueprints in your mind and see the results. That's simple. That's what you're supposed to do for the precepts. When you see a sign in the heavens given, you need to go to a star map, your Urim and Thummim, and find it. You should be able to find it. If you can't find it, it's not legitimate. Somebody's lying to you. If they start making things that are impossible. Such that saying that Jupiter is in a constellation for only 1 month rather than a pregnancy period time. Because Jupiter retrogrades in every constellation for a pregnancy period time. And then it moves on to the next one. That's why it's in Taurus, between the horns of Taurus on the head. There's a reason. And so anybody who violates this, you can judge them automatically, but you got to still run the test. And so I saw heaven open, white horse. He that sat on him was faithful and true, are the moments we too can share, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. And so just like Joseph Smith made war with Brigham Young and lost and was murdered, because that's the prophecy of Messiah ben Joseph. Thus, I am resurrecting Joseph. Not literally, but his religion, his doctrines. And Joseph Smith was getting it from the Egyptians. So thus, why I'm a translator of Paleo, Hebrew, and Egyptian. I have all the gifts: seer, prophet, revelator, and translator. I have the keys of Moses because of what I did in 2020. I did everything that Moses did in his story in the Exodus. That's why I do the pictures, so that Mormons will know who I am. And Mormons are still looking beyond the mark for Jesus, and they don't see it. So when Martin Luther King came out and gave his talk, I have been to the top of the mountain, everybody believed he was calling himself Moses, a man like Moses, the prophet. Not understanding that they're all Christian, And so they're looking beyond the mark for Jesus as the one true Christ, not Martin Luther King as the Jewish Christ. Just like Islam did. Muhammad, he's the prophet. No, he's not. He's false. You know him by his fruits. I have been literally to the tops of mountains. I have literally started my ministry on the 23rd of September 2017 to Mormons in the top of the mountains of Utah. I fulfilled the prophecies. I'm not declaring it, but in so fulfilling, I am declaring it as accomplished. This is the difference. Mormons can know me. Just get rid of Jesus from your brain. The testimony of Isaiah is the spirit of prophecy. That's what you're supposed to get from this. That the testimony of Isaiah is the spirit of prophecy in the writing of the book of Matthew. Matthew is prophecy, not literal history of Roman period time. Utilizing the prophecies of Isaiah to tell the story of a man who's now Jesus, just flipped around. And so they refer to the sun god at noonday. But you got to know your Jewish religion. He was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. This is the Egyptian story of Amun, who Hathor wanted to know his secret name. And when she had found his secret name, she then went on a drunken spree, murdering mankind. That's what's being referred to here in verses 12 and 13. He had a name written that no man knew but he himself, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of God. That's the Hathor story. Even though Hathor is female, he did talk about a bride. That's what they're talking about. And so when the Book of Mormon says that the great and abominable church, because of their wickedness, will bring upon themselves their destruction, that's what they're referring to as a female. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses. There's only one white horse. But there are a whole bunch of stars. So that's what it's meaning. Clothed in fine linen, white and clean, just like the stars. And out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, and with it he shall smite the nations. Word. And he shall rule them with the Book of Mormon. Rod of iron. Remember, chapter 12? The man-child rule all nations with the rod of iron. This is it. Repeating this again. This is him taking the throne. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty God. This is where Jesus is in Gethsemane for. Just the story version for the prophecy. Because there's going to be war. We must get to Zion to avoid the war. We must get to Zion before the church nukes us on the 25th of December. And I'm hoping that by exposing this, because this is the pattern that I've been doing all these years, when I find something out of a coming threat, I do the videos and I flood YouTube with them. And then the church, getting pissed with me because I expose their plot, they go to plan B and plan C and plan D. That's why they want to murder me and silence me, because they're pissed. I'm ruining their plans. And so I'm hoping to do it again. But this is the end. This is what all of this was for. And so as much hilarity as I've had mocking Nelson for failing to finish the temple for the April conference, for this, they are going to make it happen. And they don't care anymore. That's the thing I'm concerned about, is that because this is it, and they've already gotten away with the government portion, and they're still getting away with the religious portion by not having it happen to them, despite all the signs in the heavens flooding the skies, lately even. They are going to go through with it. They've already paid the Judas price. The enemy has already got the weapon ready to go, or weapons. It will happen. But whether or not they say, okay, we can't do it on the 25th because Travis has now exposed us, let's go to the other date that George Albert Smith talked about, New Year's. That's what will happen. If it doesn't happen on the 25th, then I'm going for New Year's. They know this is coming. They know that this is what I'll do. I got them. I know who they are. I know what they're up to. I know their plot. And I am not going to shut up. I want them stopped. And that's why the escalated hate and attacks on me. They're getting my direct computer now. Anyway. So, white horses, knights in white satin, and out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, rule on nations, Book of Mormon. He treadeth the winepress, the first of the wrath of Almighty God, and he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. That's where the Father is right now, or actually the Father is in the waters, I think now. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, 8 April 2024. Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God. The whole earth saw this sign together because of our technology that we have. Everybody saw the great sign prophesied. And not a single person on earth knew what it meant unless you watched my channel and believed. And believed. That ye may eat the flesh of kings and the flesh of captains. Yes, we're having cannibalism in Zion. No. The flesh of mighty men and the flesh of horses and them that sit on them. And the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both great, small and great. And here it is, Nelson. Here it is. And I saw Trump and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse. Great. And against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet. That can only be Nelson. That wrought miracles before Trump. Oaks confessed to Trump that they rigged the elections for him. That they protected him from getting prosecuted for his crimes. They protected him because of their plot. That's what Jessica had the vision to post. And it got to me this year. That's how we know the interpretation. And Jessica doesn't know. She still has no clue who I am. She knows nothing about me. Unless she had been one who had seen a video of mine, sent me a hate comment and a death threat, and I had to ban her. Whether or not I did a video on her or not, I don't know. It depends on what her channel name is, if she has a channel. I think she does, because the guy was saying she has a channel, and he had got it from her channel. Or it could have just been her site, because he didn't seem to accurately portray her, because I was believing incorrectly about her at first, thinking that she was a missionary in Las Vegas, when it was her mission president in Australia who had been to Las Vegas to the mission, or to the meeting that Oaks was presiding over. So nonetheless, these both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. The threat that they falsely accuse us to be punished with is the punishment with which they themselves get caught up in. The Purim principle. Esther, January 1st. January 1st. But that doesn't mean that this is going to happen on January 1st. But there is a tie to this month's events. The fall has to happen. The transfer of authority to me, so that I can get you to Zion, so that we can then establish and build Zion. All of this, and it takes time to be orderly. And if the 25th, 10 days from now, is the nuke, we're running out of time. That's why I'm concerned. And hopefully I've postponed it yet again, because 2020, Oaks tells us, was a test run. If they could have couped the government then successfully and got Trump in illegally, yeah, great. Wow, that was a great test. Just like for the election this year. AI. They were planning a backup in case that failed. But AI works so brilliantly as a Trojan horse malware virus that nobody saw it. Harris believes she actually lost and nobody loves her, despite all of the rallies with the big stars and the big people coming out to support her and endorse her. And Taylor Swift getting a whole bunch of Swifties to register to vote for Harris. They're not going to register to vote for Trump because they're Swiftie fans. And yet, she lost? How did Harris lose? Exactly. It was rigged. Just ask YouTube how it works. They can never give me an accurate count. I'm back at 1,500 subscribers again. Nope. Most of them are ghost subscribers. Because when my views go up, so do my subscribers. It's a projection. They're saying, well, if you're getting views, which are also a projection, again, spiritual witness seed producing spiritual witness fruit with spiritual witness seeds to produce more spiritual witness fruit. That's AI from algorithms. The election results are not the actual election results. If you went into the programming, remove the AI, and do it a straight count computer system, like it should have been, then you would have had an accurate counting of the election. YouTube won't do it, social media won't do it, corporations and businesses won't do it, and so neither did the voting machines. And nobody's talking about it. That's why they rushed to force AI into everybody's system across the nation. That's why over 70,000 companies are using AI to sell AI all around the world. This is the biggest scam in history, and that's why after Trump's victory, the stock market for AI just took off. That Wednesday, was it? Because everybody saw the test of how well AI can work. And I've done the videos doing Google Chrome AI searches. It never tells the truth. And Google Chrome is now forcing it to be first every single time. And it's always wrong. There's always a lie in it. Because the people who are inputting the information are dumb and malicious and hateful. AI is programmed to be a terrorist, telling you to murder yourselves, being anti-Semitic, bigoted, sexist, hateful, racist. This is the programmers. It is not an artificial intelligence. It is not intelligent. You can't call it an artificial intelligence because it's not intelligent. It's wrong. I ran the tests. I've done the videos. I've shown you. It is not learning. It is not an artificial intelligence. It is a fraud, and it is criminal, and it is a national security threat. And my government did not respond. Okay? So, there's Doctrine and Covenants, section 58, that corresponds with this. Let's see if we can see if they put a footnote to this. There it is. 5811 for 9a. Let's see how far back we need to go. Wherefore the day cometh that ye shall be crowned with much glory. Verse 4. The hour is not yet, but is nigh at hand. Remember this, which I tell you before, that you may lay it to your heart and receive that which is to follow. Okay, so he's about to prophesy here. Behold, verily, verily, I say unto you, for this cause I have sent you, that you might be obedient, and that your hearts might be prepared to bear testimony of the prophecies of Isaiah from the Book of Mormon, which plagiarizes the King James Version of the Book of Isaiah, errors and all, of things to come. Spirit of prophecy. So he's referring to Revelation 19. Also that you might be honored in laying the foundation and in bearing record of the land upon which Zion of God shall stand. 8 April also reveals the location of where Zion is to be built. In the first one in 2017, 21st of August 2017, and 8 April where they cross. That's X marks the spot. And even the third one, if you take that route, Mormons, into Texas, Travis County. Hey, he was from the crossroads of the Wagoneer sun god at noonday. Then you follow the sun on 8 April to X marks the spot. You're supposed to follow Travis to Zion. See how that worked? Sign in the heavens, prophecy on earth, prediction of the future. The man like Moses, they give you his full name. And you're looking beyond the mark for Jesus, when it's the prophecy of Isaiah. Jesus is just the twisting of the name of Isaiah for the character name. And also that a feast, wedding supper feast of the Lamb. The manners and customs goes over the tradition of the Jews for wedding supper feasts. And yeah, 7-8 days. Just like the latter days, just like the holy days of the Jews for Passover, tabernacles, northern Israel's tabernacles, and 10 virgins, scriptures, and others that talk about weddings. Samson, wedding. These Jews know what they're talking about. Joseph Smith knows what he's talking about here. Be prepared for the poor. And so, as the bishops are taking you to Zion, I'm hoping this will be the orderly process. And this is the thing that frustrates me, is because I am able to design things that are beyond the intended intent. I told you about Beehive Clothing when I worked there. We had a crew of 7 people working in the warehouse, and we took the boxes that came from the sewing floor and put them on pallets there at the conveyor, at the end of the conveyor belt, and then we were supposed to take those pallets that we were assigned to out onto the floor storage to stack them up on the pallets, and then when they get full, we're supposed to then wrap them and put them on the shelving storage. And then the pick line will say, hey, we ran out of this stock. Then we got to go to this rack storage, pull them out, go to the pick line, put them on the shelves to stock them back up again, for which they need them and they're waiting, and so they drain us of all of the product that they're using for that day, so that by the end of the day they're empty again. And so everything was backlogged, and we were required to work on Saturdays to try to get somewhat caught up to be prepared for the new start on Monday. And so the whole system was just, oh my hell. And so, working there, learning how the system works and how it runs, I then was able to identify the faults, the weaknesses in the system, and redesign mentally how it should be run. The manager said no, we're not going to do it. The one guy who had developed our current system was still working there, and so there was going to be no change to his way of doing things, because he said, this is the best we can come up with. We've tried all these other ways, none of them worked. This is the best, because it was mine. So new manager comes in as the other one goes to the distribution warehouse, and I tell him I've got the idea, and he says, sure. And because of the amount of work that needs to be done to revise it all, in the end, all that was required was 2 people, 4 hours, and we're done, and the pick line is fully stocked. Far beyond even my expectations of it. It's because I factored in the human factor to bypass it. Because it was very clear that it was working so well that the other employees were panicked that they were going to get fired, laid off. It's the church. They don't fire anybody unless you're an apostate, anti-Mormon, anti-Christ, apostate, or they didn't fire me. They just made life unbearable for me. Don't bleep, you guys. After all I've done for you, this is how you treat me. Anyway, so the church was wanting to figure out a solution to the warehouse problem, and they couldn't do it. And here I am. Boom. Wow. You just answered our prayers. And so, yeah, they were then able to transfer the extra employees over to the distribution warehouse to work there. And so what now happens is that the boxes come from the sewing floor. They are taken directly to the floor storage and then wrapped and sent up onto the rack storage. And because of how fast it's done, we're able to make sure by the end of the day that the pick lines are all stocked up, so that there is nothing lacking when they come in first thing in the morning to work. That they don't call back immediately, we're out of this, and this. So that we're all backlogged again. No backlogging anymore. Everything is fully stocked, ready to go. 2 people. And technically you only need one they got rid of the pick line. The pick line got moved to the distribution warehouse. And so it was literally a godsend, and they got rid of me. I solved their problem, made their life easier, saved them money, and they got rid of me. That's the church for you. All right. So this is how good I am. My plans that I had to box because it's taking too long and I get impatient. Waiting for the fall, waiting for the transfer of authority. I've got the Exodus plans all ready to go. It's perfect. Let's go. Come on. And the building of Zion. It's ready. I've got it. I had 6 years to work on it. It's perfect. I even created a merged thing of YouTube and other social media platforms with Amazon as a whole business operation. It's perfect. The current systems, no, they suck. Mine is perfect. Before they were invented, that I knew about, I had invented it in my mind for those 6 years. I wrote it all out on paper. I never believed that I would see the light of day. The church purposely made me disappear because I'm a translator and they're not. So thus fulfilling the prophecy of Joseph of Egypt getting locked up in prison. It wasn't prison, it was a concentration camp. Indefinite incarceration. No trial, no due process. I was disappeared, erased. This church cannot restore the damage they've done to me. Joseph Smith talks about 4-fold restoration for damages. They can't even do the 1-fold. They can't restore what they took from me. It will never be restored. This church has sentenced themselves to eternal damnation and outer darkness. So yeah, I guess they have to go all in to defy God and the curse of Joseph Smith. Guys just don't get it. He's omnipotent. Alright. That the testimony might go forth from Zion. He fulfilled. Thus, we're in Zion, from the mouth of the city of the heritage of God. Yea, for this cause I have sent you hither, Edward Partridge, unbelief. Okay. That does seem to be it. Because now Joseph is not talking to Edward Partridge about his assignment. So he threw in that prophecy that comes from Revelation. Talking to Martin Harris. Hilarious. There's W.W. Phelps with the Section 85, which again he refers to that as well. And then Sidney Rigdon, write a description of the land of Zion. Cool. Don't think he did that. Consecrate and dedicate this land and the spot for the temple. That's for their time period, not the Latter-day Temple. 19 July 1840, Joseph Smith tells us more on the plans of the temple. Mountain cities. Okay. Signs and follow them that believe. And so, yeah, the fulfillment follows the signs in the heavens. That's different. Behold, the Son of Man cometh. Okay, that's it. Is there anything else I need to cover? Don't think so. You got it.